If you like snowmen as much as I do, then last week's video wasn't enough. Hi, my name is Leslie and welcome to Happy Tuesday, where we do crafts and DIY and home decor and more. Today we are going to be doing 6 new, super cute, super adorable, super budget friendly snowmen. So let's get to it. Let's get started with project number 1. For this project, I used old fence post and cut it down to 6-inch pieces and then sanded it down, and that's why it kind of has that grayish look to it. And then I just took some white chalk paint and painted the top and the sides on 2 of them, and then just the sides on the last one, and then let that dry. In addition, to complete this project, you will also need some ribbon of some sort and either paint, or I used paint pens to draw the snowman's face on. So I'm going to use the orange paint pen and draw a snowman nose, and then use the black paint pen to put on the smile and the eyes. And then I will go back in with some chalk paint to brighten up the colors the way I like them. After the paint was all the way I wanted it, then I went in with a generous amount of hot glue to glue these wood book stack pieces together. And then I wrapped a little ribbon around it and tied a bow, and I called it complete. If you wanted to add some additional embellishments, you could put a little snowman hat on or maybe some greenery, but my project is complete. And that will bring us into project number 2. I think this little cork snowman turned out super, super cute. Here's all the items that you'll need. And I bought everything at the Dollar Tree except for my paint pens and, of course, my little cork. Now, I first started by cutting a piece of ribbon in half so that it was a proper size scarf for this little cork snowman, and tied it on there. And then I am going to trim that down and take some of this wire. I bought it in the hardware section at Dollar Tree. I think it came with a red wire and a black wire. And then I am going to form this into the top of the ear muffs. And I folded it over and originally thought I was going to hot glue this on, but it didn't attach really well. And so where I folded it over, I unfolded it and then stuck it right into the cork. And I will secure it down with some hot glue when I put the earmuffs on. I took these green pom-poms. They were not the smallest size, but the size up, and I wanted them to be black, so I just painted them black rather than having to buy additional pom-poms. And I just used the black chalk paint and a pair of tweezers and gave it a nice little coat of black paint. And you'll see it turned out all cute in the end. Once I've got that done, then I will start putting the face on. Now, to do the face, I again used my paint pens, and you'll also notice over to the side I have a box of oil pastels that I bought at Dollar Tree. I thought it was going to work better to do little cute pink cheeks than it did, but I may have to find another solution. I did a couple other things to come up with pink cheeks for other snowmen, as you'll see later on in the video. After I got his orange little nose on there, I took my black paint pen and gave it some little character pieces and then outlined it because that orange is just a little too close to the cork color and it wasn't its most brilliant self. And then here we are with those oil pastels. And what I didn't show you is I tried to brush it on with a stiff brush, and then I tried to piece it on, and then I tried all kinds of different things and none of it was working, so I finally just used it directly onto the cork and colored it on. Next we're going to put his little pom-poms on with some hot glue to make his earmuffs complete, and that will be the end of our project. I think he turned out so cute. And that brings us to project number 3. This is the one I gave you the preview of last week. And we are going to need this little sign with the beads on top and some chalk paint and some brushes. And pretty much that's all we need for this. So I took a little bit of sandpaper and roughed up the shininess of this sign a little bit so it would take the paint really good and well. And I painted the whole interior of the sign with the black chalk paint. This is going to be our background, and once I got that done and dried, then I took some orange chalk paint and I painted on a little nose. Now, because this snowman is facing the sky, the little nose will be painted facing the top of this little picture frame. Now, I had to give his orange nose 2 or 3 different coats to make sure that it was as bright as I wanted it to be, because of the background being black, it was kind of muted at first. The next thing I did was to draw his little face on. Now I started from the middle and worked my way out. In hindsight, I might have just taken a circle form of some sort and given myself a better outline. His face does end up being a little crooked, cockeyed, not quite exactly the way I wanted it to look, but I try to fix it up here in a second, and it's fine. I still think he's turned out cute. So I'm going to take a thicker brush and I'm going to take the white chalk paint and outline this and then go around his nose and then fill it all in to the bottom of the frame. And then when I let that dry and came back and gave it a second coat so that it was a nice shiny white. Once that second coat was all done, then I took the back side of my paintbrush and dipped it into the white paint and made stars in the sky. And you'll notice in the next clip, I actually took out some of those middle stars because I was going to make a big star. And so I took a thin paintbrush and put on a big star with some little dots on the end of it. And then we will move on into his face. The one color that I forgot to tell you about last week that I decided to use was this little light pink for his snowman cheeks. If you don't have any, you could either skip this step or mix a little bit of red and some white and make it into a pink cheek. And then I'm going to take my fan brush and make some little tiny snow splatter sprays. Now I sprayed the paint on the top of the lid, and then I sprayed the paint that I had on my paintbrush and then splattered it, and I think that turned out cute. And now we're going to add the rest of his face. And I just think he turned out so adorable. I like him. I hope you do too. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so that you'll be notified next time I upload a video. Let's comment below the word of the day, and today it is Happy Tuesday. Let's move into project number 4. Oh, this couldn't be any more adorable. So we're going to use those same 3 paint colors. And I also grabbed the paint pens. And then I have some 1/2-inch blocks and some 1-inch blocks, both from Dollar Tree. I couldn't make up my mind which set I wanted, so I made them both. Now I took my Cricut and made stencils that we're going to use to paint the S, N, and the W. And then I painted 3 of the blocks black for each set and 1 white. The black blocks will be the ones that we'll stencil on, and you could either do the stencil, or you could cut vinyl letters in white, or you could draw on them with your paint markers. As you can see, I just stippled or used my stiff brush up and down really quick to get the paint on there for the stencil, and then I didn't let it dry. I took the vinyl off right away, and there's my S, N, O, and W. Now on the O, that will be where our snowman goes. So I did both sets and then came in with the black paint and the orange paint and made a little snowman face. And here they are all complete. I think they turned out so cute, and they will be the perfect addition to my tiered tray this year. On to project number 5, and this is just a piece of a wood 2x4 that I had in a scrap pile, and some of those Snugadoo socks and some ribbon and the little snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. Now I took my block and sanded it down first, and then I gave it a good coat of white chalk paint all the way around, but I didn't do the top or the bottom because neither of those will be seen. Once I got that all painted, then I added a little white to one of the snowflakes, and we'll use that as some decoration on his cap. After that was all dry, I took the little Snugadoo sock and put it over the top of his head, figuring out where I wanted to tie it off. And then I took some hot glue and I glued it around the inside and the outside of the hat to give him a little brim, just like you see with winter hats. I also thought he needed a little bit of distressing. I had intended on leaving a little bit of that wood to show through, and I guess I need a new sanding block. It's not working very well, so I went and grabbed my handy dandy heavy duty nail file and gave it a little bit of roughing up to give it that extra rustic look. And here I'm going in with that hot glue and stick down that hat so that it stays in place. That's all glued down, then I'm going to take some twine and tie off the top of his hat and then trim it up and cut some little fringe pieces to make it look the way I want it to look. And then I will cut some ribbon pieces to make a little bow for his hat. Now I started thinking I was going to do a scrunchy bow, but then I decided to end up doing a messy bow. And so I cut the pieces and then I cut them again in half, and then I will crisscross them with the varying colors and textures to make a tiny little messy bow. The bow's all made, then I will go ahead and use some hot glue and glue that on where I tied that twine around. And now we're going to make his face. To make his face, I'm going to use a combination of the paint markers and paint so that it is brightly colored and so that I have a little bit of help in staying in the lines. For this snowman's cheeks, I used a combination of the pink paint marker and my heavy duty nail file to dull it down to the light blush that I wanted him to have. And then this snowman will be complete. Oh, how cute is he? And that brings us to our final project number 6. And even though this looks really cute on my tiered tray, it could also be a gift to give away. So I use these little mugs with the lids on the top. They make some with the shaker tops, but I wanted obviously the lid. And I put 2 packages of hot cocoa in each of these small mugs, and then get ready to watch the magic of the snowman face. Now I did this with food coloring, but if you had food markers, you could also use those. So going back to my grade school color chart, I mixed the red and the yellow together, and we're going to make that into orange. And I am going to use the big marshmallows to make the snowman face. And I took my toothpick and used that orange food coloring that I've now made and drew on him little snowman noses. Now I only used 1 drop of each, and it made enough I could make a lot of snowman noses. But I'm going to use that same orange color here in a second, and I am going to add 1 dot of green, and that will make a brownish black color so I can draw on the rest of the snowman's faces. Now this would be an easy project that you could do with the kids if you were so inclined, or the grandkids, and they could draw on the faces onto the snowmen. You might want to put some rubber gloves on them though, because food coloring stains really easily. Once I got all my snowman faces on, then I set the big marshmallow on top of the hot cocoa, and then I am going to add in some mini marshmallows to hold it into place. Once the lid's back on, then we are going to take some of these brown tags I got from Dollar General, and we are going to write on them with a black Sharpie. And I wrote, "You are snow important to me." And then I'm going to tie those on with that red and natural twine that you see over to the left. I also wrote on the back side of these that it made 2 cups of cocoa, so that they would know that there's more than 1 cocoa mix in there. Now when I got ready to do the twine on the tags, I took the twine, folded it in half, and made a little loop, and then put the loop through the hole and pulled the twine through, so that way it would sit securely where I put it without ripping the tag on this little jar. And that is the end of this project. I think they turned out so adorable, and this would be a lovely little neighbor gift. Just a second, I'm going to show you how these all turned out on my tiered tray, and you'll notice a little snowman that I did not make in this video, but he's just a little wood piece that you can buy from Dollar Tree, and I painted a little snowman body and hat on him. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really did enjoy our time together. Now, since you stayed to the very end, I'm going to give you a hint on what we're going to be doing next week. So during your nature walks this week, get out there and collect you some pine cones. Also, for one of the projects, you will need some of this decor buttermilk paint. So pick up some of that too, and you'll be ready for next week. So until then, make it a great day and happy Tuesday!